Hey YouTube, Satoshi Matrix here yet again, bringing you another video. This time I wanted to talk about a flashcard I've had for at least several years now, and that is the M3 Perfect SD flashcard for the Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS. So here's the actual flashcard itself. As you can see, it says the GBA movie player. This is by M3. This is the SD version, so that means it uses a SD card as its storage medium. Now, there are a lot of other Game Boy Advance flashcards out there that measure their storage capacity in terms of megabits. Megabits aren't the same as megabytes. So when something says, 512 megabits, which is the very common size flashcards for the Game Boy Advance, that really only means it's 64 megabytes, because what you have to do is you have to take the megabit number and divide by 8, and that gives you the total in megabytes. So 64 megabytes is not very much when you consider a lot of Game Boy Advance games are 8 megs, 16 megs, and even 32 megs. So through this, you can put on, like I have here, I have a 1 gig SD card. They also came out with a compact flash card version that used the giant compact flash cards, but I prefer the SD version. So before people ask me, no, I don't know where you can buy these nowadays. I've had this for at least several years now, and they're off the market, so good luck finding them. This flashcard will play Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games through the flashcard. It will run the Game Boy and Game Boy Color games through the Goomba emulator, which is the Game Boy emulator for the Game Boy Advance. So that means that the original Game Boy and Game Boy Color games will run on any model Game Boy Advance you have, even the Game Boy Micro. So if you want to play old Game Boy or Game Boy Color games on a Game Boy Advance Micro, this is the way to do it. It will also run Nintendo DS ROMs if you have a pass card. The pass card basically slots into slot 1 on a Nintendo DS or Nintendo DS Lite, and boots into the GBA mode, which will allow you to then run the DS ROMs through this flashcard. There are much better flashcards for the Game Boy or for the Nintendo DS rather than this, so I'm only going to be talking about the Game Boy Advance functions. So let's show this in action. Rather than show this on a Game Boy Advance, I'm going to be using my GameCube and through the Game Boy player. So you take the cartridge and you put it into the bottom, stick it in, turn it on. Turn on the Wavebird. So, here are the functions it does. It does specifically formatted movie files, specifically formatted music files, and specifically formatted image files. So it won't play AVIs, won't play MP3s, and won't read JPEGs or PNGs or any of that. It'll read only very specific formatted files. So these kind of features I never use. The book function, it will read .txt files, which is great if you have a Game Boy Advance with you and don't have any other PDA or anything, or a cell phone or anything. It's great for tracking, phone numbers and that sort of thing. And then obviously the game. So let's go to the very PlayStation 2 controller-ish icon and press the A button. Here in the GBA movie player, you'll see the various ROM directories. Here in the Game Boy Advance ROMs, I have in alphabetical order all of the Game Boy Advance ROMs that I care to put onto this cartridge. Now I have a good collection of Game Boy Advance games to begin with, so I have almost all of these games in actual physical cartridge. So yeah, let's boot something out. I'm gonna boot up Advance Wars 2 because I love this game. This game is 8 megabytes, you can see, and when you press the A button, it will load the save file. So let's press A. And then it will load it in terms of kilobytes. This should only take a minute. So yeah, the whole game will run flawlessly just as it would on the real hardware. So let's reboot. Upon rebooting the game, you'll be presented with an automatic backup of the save file. You have to wait for this to get finished, then it finishes, and then you can select something else. So I'm going to select something that you can't get in regular cartridge, and that is the English translation of Mother 3. So here's one of the biggest Game Boy Advance ROMs ever at 32 megabytes. So as you can see, this loads it in terms of kilobytes. So as this loads, it'll get 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, etc., etc., until it gets all the way up to 32 and then boots. There it is. There's the health and safety warning. It's the Mother 3 translation patch. Running on the Game Boy player. Yep. It's Mother 3, the great Mother 3. Now, I know it's been a while since I played this, so I don't remember where I am exactly. The forest doesn't seem to be on fire, so I guess I passed that already. Oh, that's right. Alright, so let's boot something else. So obviously you can see it runs Game Boy Advance ROMs, no problem. So let's try Game Boy ROMs. Again, it will back up the save file. Let's go to Game, go to the GB ROMs. Let's try booting Mega Man 4, because I love Mega Man 4. As you can see, it puts it in its original aspect ratio. It boots it in black and white, but if you press the L and R buttons, you get this menu, which gives you auto fire functions, as well as display settings, other settings, speed hacks, and the ability to save your state and load your state, as well as sleep, boot the game in multi-boot, and restart the game with like a soft reset. So let's go to display, and what you can do here is you can go into the palette and choose from all of the default Game Boy color palettes for original Game Boy games. So let's choose this one. Again, you go, oh whoops, I pressed the Z button. Let's go to the display, and again you can change the colors on the fly. Put it in its original Game Boy color codes. So again, let's press the reset and go back. I don't have a save file for this, so it's telling me a little warning about that. So let's try booting something else. I have the original Donkey Kong, which has the Super Game Boy functions enabled. So it will emulate that. You get the point. Let's try something else. Another warning about the battery, or about the save state that I don't have. Let's boot up the hilarious mistranslation of Pocket Monsters Green. I don't know who translated this, but English to the most. Words can't describe this. So I'm just going to shut up and show you. One of the nice things about this is if you press down the L button and then press start. Let's try to do this one-handed. The game is now running at twice the speed. Again, if you press down L and start, now the game is running at half speed. So yeah, you can see this is a horrible translation. But yeah, I just wanted to show you this amazing flash cart. So thanks for watching.